The nation's third largest city is now preparing for civil unrest as the Department of Homeland Security is asking for military base support near Chicago. We'll address that in just a moment. But this is all coming from President Trump because President Trump is preparing a major immigration enforcement operation in Chicago this coming week. And now we have the mayor of Chicago. He signed an order aiming to resist President Trump's planned immigration crackdown. This is causing many residents, well, they are panicking. Millions of people are panicking because Chicago is at the forefront of this. They are going to be hammered over the next week. Now, I want to get into this, explain what is going on, but first, before I do, if you like updates just like this one, knowing about what's happening in other cities and other states around us, go ahead and hit that like button. Because according to experts, we are all watching to see what President Trump does in Chicago. Because what he decides to do in Chicago could be telling as to what his plans are for the rest of the country. So let's get right down to it. First off, the Department of Homeland Security asked the military base near Chicago for immigration enforcement support. It says, the Department of Homeland Security asked Naval Station Great Lakes for limited support in the form of facilities, infrastructure, and other logistical needs to support DHS operations. Goes on to say, the request came weeks after the Republican administration deployed National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. to target crime, immigration, and homelessness, and 2 months after it sent troops to Los Angeles. Now, we know what's been happening. When the National Guard troops hit the streets of Los Angeles, it actually caused a lot of rioting. It caused a lot of trouble. There was a lot of businesses and homes broken into, but eventually it actually calmed down the crime, and crime levels came down. That's the exact same tactic that President Trump used in Washington, D.C. Guess what happened? The crime rate dropped. Okay, the murder rate dropped. Okay, homelessness dropped. Theft dropped. That's essentially what he's trying to do with Chicago. Now, I want to read this to you though. It says, although details of the administration's plans for Chicago are scarce, city leaders said Thursday that they are preparing for multiple possible scenarios, from troops assisting in immigration arrest to patrolling in the streets. That's what one person wrote to me, is that they are hoping that the National Guard troops will come and just patrol the streets. You will see them driving up and down the main areas and main neighborhoods in Chicago, because that right there could actually bring down the crime rate. But then somebody else wrote to me and said that no, the National Guard is not needed in Chicago. So if you live in a major city, whether it's Portland, Oregon, Los Angeles, California, it could be San Francisco, California, New York, Miami, Florida, Chicago, Illinois, New Orleans, whatever. If you live in a major city, let me know down in the comment section below. Do you think having the National Guard at your city, driving around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, do you think this would help with crime, or do you think this would actually increase the amount of crime that we're seeing? Let me know down in the comment section below. But this is what's happening, okay? And this is exactly what the Chicago mayor announced today. It says Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order Saturday laying out initial plans for how the city will try to resist President Donald Trump's planned immigration crackdown in the coming days. It says the mayor's order provides guidance and directives to the city's agencies and law enforcement, and quote, in the midst of escalating threats from the federal government. Now, it says we will see militarized immigration enforcement. We may also see National Guard troops. We may even see active duty military and armed vehicles in our streets. We have not called for this. Our people have not asked for this, but nevertheless, we find ourselves having to respond to this. Yeah. just because the city hasn't asked for it, the people haven't asked for it, law enforcement has not asked for additional assistance. That's what they're saying. But then President Trump says the city residents are asking for help, asking lawmakers for assistance to help bring the crime rate down in their city. They are scared to go out at night. They don't want to go to restaurants. They don't even want to go to grocery stores because of the amount of theft that is going on. Goes right here and says, the mayor's order affirms that Chicago police will not collaborate with federal agents on joint law enforcement patrols, arrest operations, or other law enforcement duties, including civil immigration enforcement. Goes on to say, the order also urges federal law enforcement officers who operate in Chicago to refrain from wearing masks, to wear and use body cameras, and to identify themselves to members of the public with names and badge numbers. Whether or not that happens, honestly, I don't know. But here's what we do know. In many cities around the United States, people are deathly afraid. They're afraid to go outside because of what could happen. They're afraid about the news. And again, this is something that they're saying is going to happen this week. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how many people could potentially be detained, arrested, or deported as a result. But again, this is just starting. I said this before when we were seeing the civil unrest in Los Angeles. I said that the concern was that this doesn't get taken care of, and this just spreads to other cities in the area and around the United States. That's essentially what's happening, but it's starting with the major cities. Keep in mind, okay, New York is the largest city in the United States. Los Angeles, right behind them, and then you got Chicago, the third largest city. And right now, we are experiencing civil unrest. Millions of people are extremely concerned about what's going to happen over the next week. So, as we get more information on this, I promise I will bring you all the latest news and updates. But again, this is just beginning. Here's what I want to show you though. Chicago leaders want more communication. It says city leaders said Thursday that the White House hadn't contacted them about its plans, and a spokesperson for the Illinois National Guard said the base hadn't received requests regarding a Chicago mobilization. And maybe that's the case on Thursday, but again, they're expecting this to happen this coming week. So, as we get more information on this as to what is going on, not just in Chicago, but in New York, Los Angeles, and other major cities all around the United States, I promise I will bring you all the latest news and updates. But as of today, that is what we know. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.